Hello everybody and welcome to episode 9 of Shelf Review, where today we'll be going over a game that I'm much anticipated to play, Hades 2. Now, I believe how I'm going to structure this, and I'm probably going to just tell you the story first, and then kind of give you a general review afterwards of the game box and everything. So, the story of Hades 2 follows the protagonist, Melione. Now, Melione is the daughter of Hades and Persephone, the sibling to Zagreus. And, however, she was separated from her parents at birth, because the Titan Kronos was able to escape and reassemble himself in the pits of Tartarus, where he ultimately overthrew the underworld, took control, and forced any of the surviving chthonic gods and other, prominent characters that arise in Hades 2 specifically, to the crossroads. So that's kind of like where the story starts. We start with Melione, who we've learned is trying to take over Kronos and overthrow him and reestablish her father as the ruler of the underworld. And so you start off and you go to the underworld, you fight the bosses, you fight Hecate, who is essentially like Melione's mentor. Hecate is the one who took Melione in at infancy and raised her up to the warrior that she is now today. And I guess it's best to describe everyone who's at the crossroads. So all you have at the crossroads, you have Odysseus, you have Moros, not Doros. Moros, who is the god of doom. You have Nemesis. You have Eris eventually. You always have Eris. No, Eris eventually comes in. Eventually you have Icarus too, and the Wretched Broker has appeared once more. And you have a kind of assistant, they call them shades. You have an assistant shade, and her name's Dora, who we eventually learn is Pandora through a quest line with Moros, Prometheus, who we eventually see later on, and all that. So, by going into the underworld, you keep fighting your way through. It's a roguelike, you know how it works. You just keep slowly powering yourself up and going through. So, with that, you fight through all those bosses, you eventually get to Kronos, and that's kind of where the story starts building up. Now I'm going to focus more on the surface. So the surface is also a alternate option. You have two maps in this game. You have the underworld, like you did in Hades 1, except this underworld features different places. First, you have Erebus, then you have Oceanus, then you have Tartarus, and then you have I don't remember explicitly what it's called. It's the area like directly outside of the House of Hades in Hades 1. So, I think, okay, yeah. 3, maybe the Fields of Asphodel. I'm not for certain on that, but I know that 4, I'm pretty certain it's Tartarus, because it's also Tartarus in Hades 1. But, yeah, I do not look at the names when I'm running through that, because I've been going through so much recently, just grinding for kudos, so, yeah. Now, when it comes to the surface, you fight the Titan Polyphemus, who is from the Odyssey, the one who ate Odysseus's crew members, and Odysseus eventually fooled him and blinded him. Then, secondly, you fight Eris, who I mentioned prior, is the goddess of strife. Then you fight Prometheus, who's the god who gave fire to humanity and was eternally punished due to that. You can see other depictions of him throughout games like God of War. I believe God of War 2 depicts Prometheus. But yeah, so you fight Prometheus, and then you eventually fight Typhon, or Typhon, however you want to say his name, who is the god of all monsters. He created all monsters. And it's a really cool battle. I was not expecting to fight Typhon once I got to the top of Mount Olympus, but it was really fun. It was really hot. So yeah, but I knew I was going to fight Kronos eventually, so I knew Kronos would be at the bottom of the underworld. But, okay, so once you beat Kronos, you beat him, then you go into Zagreus' room, and you sleep in his bed. Then you go through the Mirror of Night, which you use to upgrade your stuff throughout Hades 1. And as you're doing that, you go and speak with Zagreus. And now each time you beat Kronos, you go and speak with Zagreus more and more to develop the plot. And now the plot that is developing is him and Melione are trying to find a way for, in both times, to essentially eliminate the threat of Kronos. At first, they kind of try and spitball killing Kronos, but then they realize, oh, if we kill time, that's probably not going to be the best for everyone around, because no time, no progression of time, everything stops, which is not good. So then with that, they eventually come to the idea of using, I believe the name, it's the spear that Hades uses in Hades 1 at the final boss battle. I believe it's called Girganos or something like that. I'm trying to call it Girganos. But yes, they decide to use Girganos to wipe out Kronos in Zagreus' timeline, because Melione cannot eliminate Zagreus. I cannot eliminate Kronos in her time. So she asks for Zagreus to do that and you find the spear, because he doesn't eliminate. I messed my wording up there, but he doesn't. His goal is not to eliminate Kronos yet. And so he finds the spear, gives it to Melione, and with that, Melione is able to vanquish Kronos, not permanently, but vanquish him for a longer period of time, and I guess quell him kind of. And through this, they keep coming back, and you slowly progress the story, and they eventually come to the idea that, hey, Kronos does not need to be killed. We need to change the past. So what they end up doing is Zagreus ends up going down to Kronos and Tartarus in his timeline and speaking with him, trying to make amends for what the gods did to him priorly. Because if you know your mythology, Kronos was responsible for eating his children because he heard a prophecy. The prophecy said that his children would overthrow him. So he ate his children, Hades, Demeter, Hera, Poseidon, and I believe that was it. I may be forgetting one, but I don't think I am. But he doesn't eat Zeus because his wife, who is the mother of all of these, ends up feeding him a rock because she knows he's going to come for Zeus and try to eat him. So he eats the rock. Zeus then grows up, and eventually overthrows his father and cuts him. And then all of his siblings get out of the stomach, and they cut him all to pieces and throw him in pits of Tartarus. So that is the baseline of the story. That's kind of what this storyline is based off of. I mean, it's not kind of, it is what it's based off of. But yeah, so Zagreus goes into Tartarus where the, I guess, idea of Kronos, he's kind of manifesting. He's slowly building up his power. He goes down to Tartarus, discusses with Kronos how he doesn't have to be an antagonist. He can be a good guy and help. So eventually in that timeline, he ends up getting released from his torment, making amends, and being in Melione's life. Melione grows up in the house of Hades because she's not separated from her parents at birth, and everything ends up working out very well. But in the current timeline, the evil Kronos is still fighting against Melione. But in your final battle against, evil Kronos, the other Kronos comes in, saves the day, and eliminates himself. And that's what happens now afterwards, after you get past this plot, and it just keeps going and going. So in that timeline, everything has been corrected because Kronos is no longer evil, and due to him being turned good in the past timeline, the good Kronos exists, while also the bad Kronos still does perpetually exist. But the good Kronos is there now, and he helps you out, does your thing, and allows the House of Hades to slowly be rebuilt and reconstructed. So everything's happy by the end of the story. But yeah, and I mean, the story on the surface isn't much. You just keep going and eliminate Typhon, and then eventually you just go up to Olympus, speak with, I believe, the three who are usually there are Apollo, Zeus, Hera, and occasionally Demeter's there. So, or Demeter, however you want to say it. But yeah, so that is the basic part of the main story. Now, you do have post-story. And the post-story, honestly, was almost as good as the main story, in my opinion, because once you get going, you eventually start learning more and more about Hecate. And through this, you learn that there's more time travel stuff going on, because Hecate ends up revealing to you that she was Melione from a timeline where Melione grew up, was put on the River of the Styx, or the River Styx, and eventually ended up being raised by, I believe she was raised by Nyx. I'm not for certain, because it's been a moment since I completed the story, because I haven't 100% it yet, which I plan on doing before I made the review, but I have 115 hours in the game, so I believe I'm qualified enough to give a review on it. But yeah, so she ends up being raised alternatively, and she eventually goes up to challenge Kronos, but she's unable to challenge Kronos. So she eventually figures out a way to insert herself back into a different timeline, and affect that one to where she becomes the handmaiden of Persephone. And once everything goes down, she's entrusted with Melione, who is technically herself, but at a younger age, and then allowed to raise her. And due to the fact that she knows how to fight Kronos because she's been trained for it her whole life, she raises Melione better than she was raised, because she knows what to expect. And that ends up working out for the best. I really loved that, because I was always wondering how Hecate came into play. Like, she didn't have much of a narrative impact besides being the mother figure of Melione. But yeah, I really liked that little tidbit of story. And yeah, so I guess one big thing I forgot to mention is you don't end up staying in the House of Hades once you beat Kronos. You just go back to the Crossroads, because she's like, this is where my home is, this is where I was raised, this is where I want to be. And yeah, so that is the story of Hades 2. Now, when it comes to gameplay, the gameplay of Hades 2, I honestly, I don't know. I guess I like it equally, but a little bit more than Hades 1. Because Hades 1, it was a phenomenal game. I loved it. I platinumed that game. I didn't 100% it because there was a lot of darkness running and all that. I was like, no, I don't want to do that. But I've done that with Hades too. But yeah, so the gameplay wise, it's very similar. You do have different things though, because in Hades 1, you had casts, and casts were like these diamonds that you would shoot at people, they'd lock into them and cause them to have an effect. Instead, now you have magic and hexes. Magic, or not cast, and yeah, but magic is used to imbue your attacks, specials, cast, all of that with more power. But you have your cast, which is essentially the same thing as the other cast, where you threw a diamond into someone and it blasted them, whatever. And you have your hexes. Now, your hexes, I don't really use hexes, because hexes are kind of worthless, in my opinion, because I don't know why you'd waste an encounter on a hex when you can get another boon or a palm of power, which I always go for. Because, I mean, the hexes are useful. You have ones that do, like, the 1,000 damage in, like, a radius over after a 4-second delay. And then you have the one that's, like, 800 damage from a beam. And you can upgrade these so they become more and more powerful. They charge up faster. They give you other benefits. Eventually you get the God Sense, which give you power from the gods in your hexes. So they are very useful at times, but I don't prioritize them over other upgrades, because other upgrades are often more vital to your build. So with that, you have those two new adages, but I really do like. I really like the adage of those, though I don't really use hexes, because it's just very neat to see, and it tied into the story well, because you also have the goddess Selene is occasionally at the crossroads, and they had to bring her in somehow, and that was a cool way of doing it. But, yes, I liked the weapons of Hades 2 more. I feel like they were more versatile, and all of them were more easy to use. Now, the aspects can be difficult to use, like the aspect of Shiva for Zenith, the Black Coat. That's a hard aspect to get good at, and that's what I kind of like, because though eventually you do get your difficulty level, your fear meter, but the aspects gave them more difficulty, and I kind of like them as a difficulty meter, even though most of them are really easy to use. Yeah, so I believe in that aspect that gameplay of Hades 2 is more accessible than the gameplay of Hades 1, because Hades 1, like I said, it was more difficult to use the different aspects and the different weapons, because like then you had the adamant rail. I was never really good with that one, but everything else was relatively easy to use, but also some of them were obviously worse than the others. So yeah, that is gameplay wise. Now the run-throughs are all essentially the same. You have different doors to go through and all that. Now, I did kind of like what they did with, I believe it was the Fields of Asphodel, because it's a big, wide open area. You run about and collect the different things. You collect different boons, upgrades, all of that in this big field. So I really like that. That was cool. A new spin on the roguelike genre. And with that, then I guess, what's this? It's Chaos Trials. Chaos Trials, I don't remember there being anything really similar to this in Hades 1, but Chaos Trials, you eventually access a black pillar. It's really a purple pillar, but I believe they refer to it as it's just a crystal purple pillar. And it gives you different little challenges, which give you a preset things such as like a keepsake, a pet. Pets were really cool. That's another thing I forgot about the gameplay. Pets, I love pets because they help, like, whatchamacallit, resource grinding and like harvesting so much. Like Rocky is my goat for acquiring resources, because bro gives you so many kudos once you mine stuff. Because like, okay, the two best things for getting kudos are flowers, plants, stuff like that, because you have a little garden you can grow stuff in, which is a really cool thing about the Crossroads too. They made the Crossroads, like the hub areas for this, for Hades 2, far more in-depth and enjoyable than Hades 1. Because the Hades 1, you had a lot of stuff you could do, but for the House of Hades and Hades 1, it was really just rebuilding bonds. Like, you had your Richard Broker, which you have in Hades 2, and you had your aspects, you had your room and all that. But, yeah, in Hades 2, the hub area is far more in-depth, so I really did enjoy that. But yeah, Rocky, because best way to get kudos is mining ores and harvesting stuff. And Rocky helps you find so many ores, so Rocky is my goat. Gale, I would say he's probably close second, because I love his dodge effect. So yeah, I guess I'll go over how the pets work. Okay, so the first pet, you have a cat, Tula. Tula is responsible for catching fish, and she occasionally does damage once she's woken up. Then you have, like I said, Rocky, I already explained him. He does DPS special damage. Not special damage, I believe it's critical damage. Then you have Gale, who's used for dodging. Phrenos gives you more health. And the dog, I don't remember exactly what he does, because I haven't used him a lot. I did use him for quite a while, but I just forgot about it. And I started using Gale and Rocky once I unlocked them. But, yeah, the dog, he digs up food and more seeds around the area. And, well, once he digs up the seeds, you can get food off that, which heals you. Yeah, so all the way back to Chaos Trials, like I was saying, Chaos Trials, they give you a preset loadout, and it can make it really fun or really difficult, because I know for the Greater Above and Greater Below, I did Greater Below really fast. Greater Above was hard. Greater Above was really hard, because you get 20 random fear, you get random weapon, random arcana, random keepsake, and I believe that's it. Yeah, but your arcana is filled out to 30, so it's relatively good arcana. And random weapon, yeah, like I said, and random aspect of that weapon. So yeah, Greater Above took me a while to do, because I just had to get good RNG. I ended up beating it with the aspect of Nurgle, or Negril. I don't remember where the RNG are placed in it, but the special aspect of the axe. And I'm horrible with that aspect. I have no clue how I ended up clearing Greater Above with it, but hey, it ended up working out, so I can't complain. But yeah, so then I guess Arcana is a good thing to discuss. Arcana, they are cards. They're essentially your mirror from Hades 1, and they give you different power-ups and stuff like that. And you can only have you have Grasp, which each card has a different Grasp value, varying 0 through 5. And there are certain ones you have to have prerequisites to, I guess, activate, the most time to the 0 ones. So that can make it very good to strategize how you want your upgrades to go about, which upgrades you want, stuff like that. So yeah, I really like the inclusion of Arcana as well. So then after that, oh yes, I forgot this way back early on, but Skelemius did once again a turn, and is your punching bag in the crosswords now. He survived the overthrowing of Kronos at the House of Hades. Well, Kronos overthrowing everyone else at the House of Hades. But yeah, that was really good. And Fear. Okay, Fear is essentially, it is your heat for Hades 2. Hades 1 was the difficulty meter for, heat was the difficulty meter for Hades 1. And with it, the Fear, I mean, Fear runs are really fun. They give you more, like, I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's like these blue, purple, like little ore things that they give you for beating certain bosses on certain Fear. And you have 48 different challenges to do with those. So it was really fun and really good to go through different Fear, because, like, you had incentive like you did in Hades 1 to get through the higher and higher Fear. So I really enjoyed that. And yeah, that's really all there is about Fear. The Rivals battles were cool, like they were in Hades 1. Honestly, Rivals Typhon took me a while to beat, but it wasn't too hard once I found the right aspect and the right Arcana setup to use. So that is one thing that's very fun about Hades 2 is experimentation with your weapons and your Arcana, because it's so customizable. So I really did love that. Now, I guess I'll just kind of discuss the special characters you meet throughout. You're like, similar to the ones like Sisyphus and Hades 1. So, for the underworld, you can meet Arachne, who was turned into a spider by, Athena. And she gives you different, like, clothing. And it shows the different clothing when you're wearing it. And it gives you shield and some other benefit, usually. Then, for Oceanus, you can meet Narcissus, who everyone knows about Narcissus, the man who stares himself in the pool eternally and ends up dying. And then, after that, in, I believe it's the Fields of Asphodel, you can meet Echo. Echo was the one who was wronged by Narcissus, so you can see kind of where each of these characters have their own stories that are played upon eventually within the story. Echo and Narcissus end up making amends. Arachne ends up telling Athena off and doesn't get turned into a human again, because even though Athena was going to offer her to turn her back into a human, but I guess she didn't want to. She didn't want to tell Athena off. And then in your Tartarus, for the bottom of the underworld, you can meet Hades, and while he's in his shackles, and eventually after you beat Kronos and eventually fully defeat him and everything's restored, you end up having Hades and Persephone down there. So then for the overworld, for that, you have Heracles that you can meet in the, I believe it's called Erebus, okay, it's a human town. Then, after that, you have the seas, where you can meet Icarus, and then you have the base of Mount Olympus, where you can meet Dionysus. Dionysus is not an actual god boon giver in the Hades 2, but he does give you kind of like support boons, like with Athena or Hermes or Artemis. And then for Olympus, you can't meet anyone on Olympus. So that is all of the kind of supporting characters that appear throughout the actual like dungeon areas of the game. So, and let's see, what is next? Oh yeah, so I discussed Hades and Persephone and them giving boons, and it was really cool. I randomly noticed this like yesterday. I've played the game for 115 hours, and I just noticed this yesterday. I've been playing it for almost an entire month, and I just now noticed this yesterday. So, the boon that you can get for Hades for your cast, it's called like howling something, and you cast it, and it casts your cast in a green flaming skull. I did not notice this until the other day, but that skull is the exact same one that Hades, the final boss in Hades 1, casts when he cast his cat. Well, he cast his cast, yeah. But yeah, it was really cool. I was like, that is absolutely sick that they had that little attention to detail. So I really loved that. That's one thing. This game has wonderful attention to detail. I know I just showed this was on Switch too. So I was so excited about this game. I guess I'm going to move more into the review portion of it now. I was so very excited for this game because I love Hades 1. I platinumed it, like I said, and I just love roguelikes because I played things like Skull, Curse of the Dead Gods. What else have I played? Hades 1, Hades 2, and there's something else I'm not remembering at the moment. But yeah, I've played a lot of roguelikes, and I really enjoyed them. So I was really excited about Hades 2 because it was my favorite among those. And with that, I was going through Walmart the other day, and not the other day, last month, because I got my Switch 2 last month. And I was like, oh, I want to play Hades 2, and I got the money burning a hole in my pocket. So I ended up making a $500 purchase to play, I believe, a $50 game. But it was absolutely worth it. I loved it. Because I ended up getting the Switch 2 bundle with Mario Kart World, so I ended up getting that as well. And I love my Switch 2. Like, that's the thing. If you are on the edge of buying a Switch 2, but you still want one, I highly recommend it. Because I was hating on it before I bought it. I might sound like a Nintendo shill, but I was hating on it before I bought it, and then I bought it, and I utterly loved it. So I believe you'll love it too if you are not expecting too much from it. Because I went into it, I wasn't expecting much, but I got it, and I loved it because it was a better Switch in every single way, and I already loved my Switch, so I was very pleased. But yeah, so nice box art. I guess I'll go over the box now, but yes, nice box art. One thing I love about the Switch 2 spines is the art along the spine, because in the original Switch games, you just have that basic, like, not Comic Sans, but like Arial font on the back, and it's just red. I don't much like that. Yeah, there's the back, and this brings me to the inclusions in here. You get a code for the digital soundtrack of the game, which is a phenomenal soundtrack. Like games, like songs such as Coral Crown, though the sirens are villains, they have phenomenal songs. So they play a song while you're fighting them in the boss battle, and it differs almost every time. And Coral Crown, I legit added to my playlist. That is a phenomenal song. I loved it. And one thing I like about once you get further on the game, you can decorate the crossroads, and that costs kudos. And kudos are a thing that you can get from recycling materials that you have. And I was not expecting to go very deep into it, but I have absolutely fallen into the trenches. I maxed out every decoration I could, and now I'm legit only using kudos. And I bought all the songs from the mixer. I believe it's the mixer. But yeah, you get this dude who can play songs, and you can pick whatever song from the soundtrack you can play, and that's lovely. And you eventually get the incantation, because you use incantations to upgrade your base and all of that. They're in a cauldron where Hecate usually is in the crossroads, and you can upgrade your base, and you can eventually make it where you can play anything random, and I just love that. So yeah, like I said, now the only thing I really have left to do is max out Heracles' bond, which is going to take forever because it's completely based on RNG and dialogue trees, and then I have to max out my rank. I think I only have like 14 ranks left to get, and that won't take too much time. But yeah, one thing that I have very high praises for in this game is the character design. The character design is phenomenal. Now, my favorite looking character in this entire game has to be Prometheus. I saw Prometheus for the first time. I was like, oh, that is a sick character design. I love Prometheus' character design. It is phenomenal. It is literally the best character design in all of Hades, because it is legit just sick. Like, hold up here. I wonder if I can get the lighting good. That is Prometheus' character design. Like, okay, you can see his, like, waistband there, and then when you actually see him in game, he has, like, flaming fists, and then he has his bird. I believe it's Eros or something like that. That is a sick character design. Like, once you play it, you will get to the top of, like, the rim, like, the Mount Olympus area in the game, and you'll be like, that is a sick character, because Prometheus is literally insanely cool looking. But yeah, I highly praise character design in this game, because, like, it was just phenomenal. It was as good as Hades 1. I would say it's even better than Hades 1, because, like, you have characters like Prometheus who are sick looking. But, yeah. So, that is character design, and I guess I can go into possible complaints now. I really did not have a single complaint about this game itself. The game, I loved it. I love the controls. I love the new mechanics. I love the customization. I really just loved this game. Like, I'm disappointed that it didn't win Game of the Year because I played Silksong and I thought Silksong was gonna be my Game of the Year. I wish I would have played this in 2025 because it would have been my Game of the Year. I loved this game. It was so much fun. I'm still having fun with it. That's one thing. Roguelikes, they usually get redundant once you beat them and you just kind of keep running through. I've probably played this game more in the post game than I did in the beginning, like the actual story of the game, and I'm still loving every single playthrough. Like, I have not gotten bored yet. I haven't gotten mad, too. That's one thing. This game is a really fair game. Like, when you die, you don't feel wrong. You don't feel slighted. You don't feel like it was because of bad game design. You just feel, hey, I died because I either don't have the power, so I just need to get good. Like, it's as simple as that. And I just love that about this game because, I mean, most games that I play for 100 hours, I'm getting bored of it by the end because I'm running through. It's usually similar game loop, and I'm just like, crap, I just don't want to do this anymore. No, like, but this is one of the few games like this. When it comes to, I guess, just continual playability, it's up there with the likes of Final Fantasy 16, which is like my favorite game of all time. Phenomenal game. I would recommend that game to anyone. It is literally peak fiction. Like, I'm not even joking. I'm not even elaborating. That's no hyperbole. It's peak fiction. So yeah, this game, like I said, really, really good. Now, the only downside I believe it has, which isn't even a problem of itself, it's a problem of the systems design. It has no community at all. Like, it is a Hades game, so it does have a community, but so few people have played it that there's no community. Like, I was trying to look at how to max out my Heracles bond. I could literally only find 2 Reddit posts about that. And that was the only thing I can find about maxing my Heracles bond out. And all the YouTube videos you find are just, I guess, I'm not hating on them. They do show it, but they're just speechless and they don't give you any, like, detail. So that can be troubling and angering at points because they don't have someone walking you through and telling you how to do something. And yes, that comes with this territory of just getting good. But things like the Heracles bond, you really do need a detailed explanation to know because it is simply, you got to unlock like specific dialogue tree options and then just keep running through until Heracles talks to you, which is very rare. So yes, if anything, I wish this game had a bigger community because as it is right now, some incoming players are going to find it very difficult to, I guess, assimilate themselves and enjoy the game because they won't have any outreach when they get stuck because there is just not that much information out about it, even though the game's been out for multiple months. And like I said, I believe that's a problem of it being on specific systems because it's only on the Switch 2, which a bunch of people are hating on. And I mean, kind of reasonably so because it is very underwhelming. It's not underwhelming itself, but it was very underwhelming when revealed. So I can understand people hating on it. And it doesn't have many games right now, so no one's really going to get a Switch 2. But you have your Age of Calamity, you have not Age of Calamity, Age of Imprisonment, Hyrule Warriors, Age of Imprisonment, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Mario Kart Worlds, Metroid Prime 4, and I believe that's it Nintendo-wise. And then you have your Switch 2 ports from the Switch 1, but like those aren't really impressive. So yeah, I just believe people haven't really played this game a lot because it's not on things like more accessible, say like not accessible, but more prominent systems like the PS5 or the Xbox Series X, stuff like that. It's only on PC and Switch 2 right now. So I believe once this game gets ported to other systems, it will be a lot more enjoyable to newcomers because then they will be able to help themselves through the story and all that. So I do hope it gets ported soon. Yeah. So with that, I believe that's my entire review of Hades 2. I did really love the game. I'm going to continue loving the game until I get my last things done. And yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend this game to anyone, especially fans of Hades, because this is Hades 1, but with so much more. A phenomenal story, phenomenal gameplay, and just everything. It improves upon everything that Hades 1 was. So I do highly, heavily recommend this game. And yeah, I think the next game I'm probably going to play since I recently got my Switch 2, I'm still loving having it. I'm even playing it portably, which I usually didn't do with my Switch 1, and taking it to places. So I believe I'm probably going to end up playing Mario Kart Worlds next, since it's the only other Switch 2 game I have at the moment. So y'all probably getting a review on that sometime later. And yeah, you'll probably get a review soon on the anime movie 100 Meters, because I'm watching that right now and I'm a cross-country runner, so I'm really enjoying it. So I will most certainly be making a review on that sometime soon. So yeah, thank you for watching episode 9 of Shelf Review, and see ya.